All right, so you are trying to decide, do you want to move to Austin, Texas? Or you've already decided you're moving to Austin or somewhere else in Central Texas, but you're not quite sure where to start. Guys, you found the right video, you found the right channel. Chris Peshek, broker associate at Peshek Properties, and my team and I get calls from people like you every day with help moving to the Austin area, and that's what I do on this channel. Talk about where can you move in Austin, what are the pros, what are the cons, things like that. And today I am in Northwest Austin at a spot called The Domain. You can see it right here behind me. And guys, The Domain is a shopping destination. I mean, heck, at this point, it has turned into a tourist destination. There's hotels, there's apartments, there's tons of shopping, there's things to do. You've got movie theaters, you've got bowling alleys, you've got all kinds of stuff. You could come do a vacation in The Domain and actually never leave The Domain and probably have enough to do for 3 or 4 days. That's how cool The Domain is. And geographically now, we are probably 5 or 6 miles north of downtown Austin, but geographically, The Domain is the center of Austin, or we call it Austin MSA, the entire Austin area. This is the geographic center, and this place is cool. So the neighborhood that I'm taking you today, first of all, I told you about it once before in this video up here when I did my favorite neighborhoods over $1 million under $1 million in Austin, Texas. Okay, I'm taking you out to Great Hills. Great Hills is on the northwest side of town. It's close to The Domain. It's close to another shopping area, a little bit older, called the Arboretum. Arboretum's been around for a while. It's right close to Loop 360, which takes you down right across Lake Austin. Also 183, which takes you out to Cedar Park to the north. And then if you follow 183 south, it'll take you to the airport and down to some of my stomping grounds, Lockhart, Luling, Gonzales, Cuero, down in that area. But location for Great Hills is amazing. You're close to shopping, close to things to do, close to downtown Austin. You're not a far drive from the airport. It's about 25 minutes from the airport. So there's a lot of cool stuff in the Great Hills area. And not only that, the schools are great, and you've got houses that range. You can buy condos in the 350 range all the way up to, I mean, if you really wanted to get back in over by the lake and Jester, which isn't technically Great Hills, but it's close by, Northwest Hills, you can spend $2, $3, $4 million if you wanted to go way up there. But what I'm gonna do today is, like I always do, is I'm gonna show you 3 houses, 3 different price points. I always try to get something around 500, something around 750, and then something around $1 million. We're gonna take a look at what these look like, and we're gonna start right now. Let's go. All right, guys, so I am in the area that is known as Great Hills. Now, Great Hills is actually quite a few different subdivisions. This is kind of an area, you may hear people refer to this area as the Arboretum as well. So right behind me is 183. It's going up to Cedar Park and Leander that way. Downtown is southeast of us here. And the neighborhood, or the area that we're starting off in, we're looking at a house that's $500,000, okay? In order to get a house that's this close to downtown Austin and the location, you're gonna give up some stuff. So what we're looking at here is a house that's only about 1,450 square feet. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, built in 1971. Okay, $500,000, so just under $350,000 a foot. But as I'm walking up to it, I'm gonna show you a few of these other houses, and most of this area was built in the 70s and 80s, a little bit in the 90s. You're not gonna find a lot of new construction, especially under $1 million out in Great Hills. But what you are gonna find, like I mentioned, we were just at The Domain, and The Domain's about 2.5 miles away from here. If you're a soccer fan, Q2 Stadium, home of Austin's MLS soccer team, is about 3.5 miles away from here. Downtown is about 6 or 7 miles down to the southeast, like I mentioned. This is a great location. People love it for a bunch of different reasons. One of them is the schools. The high school here is Westwood. Westwood is a highly sought after school, especially for people that work in the tech industry, engineers and stuff like that. They love this area because it's not too far away from the tech corridor, Tech Ridge and all of that. You can still commute to work, but they want to send their kids to Westwood. It's got a great reputation, especially as a science and math school. Now, not the houses yet. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea that this is what you're looking at. Wide yards. You're not going to find this in new subdivisions, yards that are this wide apart. You've got big trees all throughout. And then the houses, a lot of them are gonna look a lot like this one. And now this is the house that we're looking at. It's got a little bit of a mid-century modern vibe, and I'll step back away from it a little bit, make sure I don't get run over on the road. So you've got the big trees, a little bit of a mid-century modern vibe. You know, you've got the little narrow windows here on the front, built in 71, like I mentioned, 1,442 square feet. And the inside of this house is nice. You know, you take a look at it as we're going through here. You've got some stuff that's been updated. Really a nice, comfortable house. This would be considered an entry-level house for Great Hills. And again, in this area with the schools and everything that you've got around, from shopping everywhere, you've got some major manufacturers in the area too. I'll talk about those in a little bit. But just in general, that's what you're gonna find here in this part of Great Hills, you know, in that $500,000 price range. Now, before we go to that next house, I always have to remind you, if this is the kind of content that you want to see on YouTube, like I mentioned, you want to move to Austin, you're not quite sure, you're out of state, out of area, this is what I do. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you get notified when I put videos like this out. I'm doing at least 2 of these a week, and I'm going to commit to doing 3 of them a week just so I can get more content out for people who are looking for this. Now, as we're heading over to the other house, I'm going to give you another example of these big, wide front yards. Guys, that's what you're looking for. If you don't want that tight suburban feel of the brand new master plan communities, look at these yards and these trees. Again, $500,000, that's what this gets you in Great Hills. Let's go check out the second price point, again, right around $750. Let's go see what that looks like. All right, so rolling up to the second house here. Now this one's just a little bit further to the west. We're about halfway between Mopac and Loop 620, which is kind of the Lakeline Mall area, close to Anderson Mill here, a lot closer to Westwood High School. So again, this next house has got great schools, highly sought after area from a school district perspective, still close to downtown. We're a little bit further away from the Domain and Q2 Stadium. We're about 1.5 miles further, so call it 5.5 miles or so to Q2 Stadium from here. Still close, again, still great location, close to all the shopping that you need. And I talked a little bit about the location earlier, and being fairly close to Tech Ridge and everything like that. You've also got some major employers up here. Indeed's up here. You've got National Instruments is up here. Several others. I can't even keep track of all the tech companies that are up here anymore. I apologize. I'm not that into the tech companies, but I know that there's a bunch of them up here. But anyway, and again, you are still commuting distance to downtown, no problem. Mopac is not far away. It's pretty easy to get down there. Now, as I'm walking through this neighborhood, this one's a little bit newer. It was built out in the 80s and 90s. Again, you're not gonna find brand new homes in this area, but you're gonna find very nicely renovated homes, you know, like the one that we're taking a look at now. And when we get here to the corner, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a 360 view, because one thing keeps coming up over and over in this Great Hills area. And now, okay, I'll say that we're pushing a little bit closer to Anderson Mill, that's fine, but it's still the Great Hills area. But talk about people that take care of their properties, pride of ownership, all of that good stuff. Just take a look. I mean, I don't know if it's really coming through the yards and all of that, but this is a really well-maintained area. Okay, speaking of maintained, this house. Now, granted, the landscaping up front needs some work, okay? If you want a yard, that ain't it. But $766,000, we're a little over 2,100 square feet here. They've done some nice updating on this house. Now, the outside's been painted. It was stone, it's been painted. Don't know if you're a fan of that look, but they did some good things with the black windows. You can see there's a solar panel on this roof. Solar panel, the whole system has been paid off on this house. So it's gonna keep your electricity bills low and stuff like that. Gotta wait for the cars to come by sometimes. But anyway, new floors in this house. The landscaping, you know, the backyard's a little bit better. Inside looks great. New flooring, like I'd mentioned. And the other thing is this thing has a ton of natural light. Again, built in 81, 2,100 square foot, just a little bit over $360 a square foot. This thing may be just a little bit overpriced still, but when you look at, you know, your utility bills, maybe 50 bucks a month as opposed to 200 in the summer, okay, maybe it's not overpriced. You know, maybe this is just that type of house that you're looking for. So that is the second house, $766,000, like I said. Now we're gonna go take a look at the last one. $1 million price range. when you step up to that price range, even in this area, you're gonna change the type of houses that you're looking at. So let's go see what $1 million would buy you in Great Hills. All right, guys, here we go. Heading over to house number 3 on this tour of Great Hills. Again, price point is going up to $1 million. This house is listed at $924. Actually was priced at $1 million at one point. House is pretty small, okay? A little over 2,100 square foot, like the last one, 3-bed, 2-bath. So you're going, what are you gonna pay $435 per square foot for? Well, we're gonna take a look at it in a second. One thing about this part of Great Hills, and this is kind of the majority of Great Hills, is really split between 2 school districts. It's split between AISD and Round Rock ISD. Round Rock ISD is where Westwood High School is, and I was saying earlier, that's a highly sought after school, especially for the engineers and stuff that live out here. But this side goes to Anderson High School, which has historically been and still is one of the top 2 high schools in Austin ISD. That's not a magnet school. I don't count LASA, that's a different animal. But on the north side, you have Anderson High School, and on the south side, you've got Bowie High School. Those have historically been the best schools, by grade in terms of how they grade out. Those have been the 2 best high schools in Austin for a long time. So this house, when you're talking about renovations and being renovated, man, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. You can see from the outside, it's had a ton of work on the outside. The swimming pool, the cabana, the inside, this thing is absolutely stellar. This is as close to a move-in ready home for anybody that is looking for a house in Great Hills as it gets. Granted, it's not for everybody when it's 2,100 square foot. It's just not that big. But when you look at the finish out and the things that have been done inside of this home, you are getting an absolute gorgeous, gorgeous home here. So that's what $1 million will buy you, $925 call it, in Great Hills. And if you're interested in the area, keep in mind that the prices up here tend to stay a little bit higher. They don't fluctuate quite as much as what you're going to see in other parts of Austin. Again, most of that has to do with the desirability of the area. When you've got the great schools and the great shopping and nearby to downtown, easy access to the airport and all that other stuff, the prices here stay a little bit more stable. Because of the market right now, you are starting to see some prices come down a little bit, like this one. I think they were probably priced a little bit ambitiously, we'll call it, at $1 million. And they might still be a little bit priced ambitiously right now for 2,100 square feet. But I mean, who can blame the owner when you look at the inside of that house for wanting to get every last dime that they can out of it? But anyway, guys, that is it. Again, I've got to remind you, if this is what you're looking for in a YouTube channel, make sure you are subscribing. And look, if you're looking to move to Austin, Texas, and you need an agent that knows what they're talking about in Austin, give me a call. This is what I do. I am a professional. I've been doing this since 2011. I've been in Austin since '99. There are just not a lot of people out here that know this town as well as I do. All right, we'll see you on the next video.